for coming. I'm expecting there'll be some other people that'll roll in a little bit late, but my name is Debbie Kundrat, and I'm PTA president this year, and I'm also a member of Graham Performing Arts. So this meeting is one of, we hope, more joint meetings where we can bring together our community of parents here at Graham. We have such a great, powerful brain trust of parents here who are committed to our students and making Graham the best that it could possibly be, and we want to be able to bring us together multiple times throughout the year to work on some things that will benefit all of our students. Real quickly, I'm going to talk a little about PTA, and then I'd like, why don't you guys go ahead and come on up. Graham Performing Arts, Site Council, and ELAC. Come up and join me. PTA, as you all probably know, is benefits the entire student body. So everything that we do, whether it be fundraising, programs, initiatives, all and volunteerism, really are for all of our students here at Graham. We do have a membership, and if you haven't joined, it's not too late. Feel free to go to our website, to the Graham website, and the PTA page to join. And really the benefit of joining for you is, one, your voting power. So when we make decisions on how to spend money or what initiatives and things that we should want to be doing to implement here at Graham, you get a chance to voice your opinion there. There are some discounts that are available, both local and national. And I guess the bigger benefit, broader for our students, is advocacy. There is power in numbers, if you will, and advocacy happens at both the state and the national level on behalf of our students. So the more members that we have, the more chances that our voice is going to be heard. So again, go to the website to join, or you can see Adri. If you want to wave your hand, Adri. She handles membership if you have any questions. Okay, next, Eli.
Hello, my name is Adriana Diaz. I'm ELAC president, part of the group of ELAC presidents, because we are like five people around it. And maybe you know how our group is working with the school, the Latin community people, and there's different languages maybe too. If you have questions about how our group work with the school and the teachers and the community, please ask me or Maribel or Josefina. You can go to the website and see how we work with the school. And thank you for coming, and thank you for letting us to be a part of your group. Thank you so much.
Hi, my name is Anita Rosen, and I'm the president of Site Council. And it's an organization we meet typically once a month. And typically the staff at the school presents a program that they are planning on implementing. And so it's a great way of getting information on what's going on in the school.
Hello, I'm Allison Devaney. I'm president of Graham Performing Arts. Nearly half of the students here at Graham are involved in one of the performing arts classes or groups. And so the neat thing about that is you can be a member of Graham Performing Arts and you can be a member of PTA. You can have your voice heard in many ways. Thank you.
Okay. All right, so I think we're going to get rolling with the program. Kim Thompson and Cindy Lundberg, our principal and vice principal, are going to sort of take it from here and cover the next 2 points on the agenda, and then we're going to have a working session where we're going to break out and work together. So,
Thank you. So we spent the last 2 days, Cindy? The last 2 days locked in a room with two of our teachers going over our school quality review findings. For those of you who don't know, in October we had 2 reviewers here going through our schools, talking to parent groups, talking to student groups, talking to teacher groups, talking to us, going in and out of classrooms, and just looking at what is helping instructions and student achievement and what is hindering it. The district went through a quality review as well, and every site went through a quality review. So the last 2 days was looking at the findings, looking at our site plan, which Ms. Rosen just talked to you about at the school site council, and what do we need to do? Tomorrow night we present our site plan to the school board as written, and we will be revising it probably the day after. So we learned a lot in the last 2 days, but I wanted to share you a couple of the highlights. In Bear Tracks a few weeks ago, I talked about the school quality review findings, and that was the initial findings. Probably this week I will send out the entire findings. It's not much more, it's just more meat on the bones, so to speak. A little more detail. But the 3 main factors, they said, that are limiting student learning is we as a staff do not look at data enough. We don't use data to drive our instruction. So that came up loud and clear today in our conversation of what do we need to do. And so that's probably where the site plan is heading. The other factor, and for all of our ELAC parents, they found that because of students with English language as a second language or other languages as a second language, those kids who are learning a different language, they are not offered an elective due to the constraints of a 7-period schedule. And they felt that was problematic. Now, I'm not sure how that's fixed because there's legalities and requirements by the state of California, so you're talking fixing it the entire district systemically. So that was one that came up. And the other one was a Cindy and I think that we don't give teachers regular feedback. We're not in classrooms enough. When we are, we're not telling them how they improve. So it's all about feedback and improving. And so we own that. The other findings that they said that the staff was very supportive of each other and students, that the school is orderly and welcoming and students felt safe, that after-school programs provide students with a safe place to do some homework and socialize, that the school began with Welcome Week and that bond that supported them throughout. And teachers did things like Think, Pair, Share and all of that kind of stuff. They complimented that we've developed a positive working relationship with our community, with you folks. Interesting enough, every finding, I'm going to put this back up if I can, it was around different things. So factors that support student learning, factors that limit student learning, and recommendations. I want to show you, and they're all in domains. So like a domain of quality of teaching and learning. So things that we can do. And there's improvements all the way around. The one I was most proud of, I want to share, and I'll send this out. Curriculum and assessment, leadership and management, that kind of stuff. But I want to get to you folks, because that was what I thought was the culture of learning. So if you've been around long enough, how many have been at Graham with 1, 2, 3, 4 children? Been here more than a year? Been here more than a year? Been here more than 2 years? Keep your hands up. More than 3 years? More than 4? So look around. More than 5? In the back. So those that have been around a long time have noticed some changes to Graham. Or you've heard about it if you haven't been around. So every one of these things, the domain of culture, things that support, that we work diligently with the school to keep it a safe place of respect. It's the principal continues the relationship. Staff members cue from their principal, valuing each student. But every other finding, every other field was factors that limit student learning. There was always a whole bunch of things. Look at what's there. No factors that limit in this domain. This was a huge focus, and it's been a focus for several years, building a culture of learning. So this is one that I and Cindy are pretty proud of, that we don't have anything that we can work on. Now, that doesn't mean we drop this. You know, and my teacher said, okay, we're done with that, let's go on. It's like, no. You still keep this. You just focus some more. So that's where the SQR is, and we wanted you to see it. This whole document will be sent to you through BearTracks or some other form. The PTA also asked us to talk about our site plan. Now, I just told you that the site plan, let's see. There you go. The site plan, we go tomorrow night to the school board to present. ELAC's looked at it, PTA's looked at it, site council's looked at it, now the school board looks at it. And it'll get questioned by the school board and approved or not approved or whatever they decide to do. But as soon as that happens, we're going to rewrite it. We actually started rewriting today. And as we were fighting this, it's like, why do we do all this work if we're going to rewrite? The thing of academic language kept coming up over and over and over. In the site plan, there's a math goal, a language arts goal, an English language learners goal, and a climate goal. So what we're here tonight is to talk about the climate goal, which is all what we can do for academic language. And that one's going to stay put because we figure the more we do academic language, the better off your students are. And we had this huge battle. What was the battle with the staff about academic language?
It's not vocabulary. It's
not vocabulary list. We argued and argued and argued. So we'll talk to you about what it is. So here's the goal. By June of 2016, all of Graham's Parents Group will be working together with the staff to support a school-wide strategy. That's why this is the first step. You're all here, right? We're going to have vocabulary, got cut off. It's measured by sign-in logs, meetings, agendas, joint meetings, website. So all of these joint meetings that we're going to have to do some brainstorming is going to support that goal. And that came up from all the parent groups. They said, we don't talk enough. We work in silos. We don't want to work in silos. So we're developing joint partners. All of those leaders that you saw up here of those groups, they're joint partners. And we're going to work together on this academic language campaign. Now, you wonder, why are we wearing all these crazy words? That's because we have a former kindergarten teacher as assistant principal. Now, the words she used to wear around her neck were the, and, dog. These are a little different. Justified.
Shouldn't have a costume to go with it?
Yeah.
I
think they should. Arpeggio, endoplastic, reticulum. Man, we've got some tough words here. But these are all words in our curriculum. This is academic language. This is language in content. So what is academic language? It's this idea of a tier. So think about this triangle. The bottom words, the bottom level, are those words we just talk to each other every day. That's our students' everyday language. The students that are English language learners, they pretty much have all of that. It's just to be, how do you communicate daily? Tier 2 words, high utility academic vocabulary found in many contents.
Yeah, that word right there.
Analyze, justify. Is there a,
Where's the other one?
where's some others?
Evidence.
Demonstrate.
Demonstrate, yeah.
Those are words that go across every content. Those are words you're going to find in the SBAC test. Those are high academic. What does she have? Evaluate. Commentary. And those are all tier 2 words. Tier 3 words are domain specific, content specific. Annexation. Anybody want to take a guess what subject this is out of? Social studies. What's that one?
Biology.
Arpeggio. What's that one? Music. So every subject has a vocabulary to it. And in many ways, it's like a foreign language. Probably, science is probably the most foreign language to all of us. However, when Cindy was looking at the music words, she was, man, I walked in there and they were talking all these words. I had no clue what they were domain-specific words. So, what we want to do is deal with the tier 2 and tier 3 words. And we want to market this, and this is really quick because I want to get you to get some of the words. You know, when you want something to happen, you market it. You sell it. We're going to start selling this to you, to kids. We're going to put it up on the web. We're going to put it on our JMS TV. We're going to do it in our marquees. We're going to do a rally coming up soon about academic language is our priority. And whatever other ideas you come up with. So Cindy, what can parents do?
She's got a big voice.
I've got a big kindergarten voice, right? Okay. So what we wanted to do is really solicit you guys as partners in how can we do this. There's a lot of different pieces of learning, but if we don't have the words to use, it's really hard to get there. So what we wanted to do is partner with you guys, and we came up with sort of 5 different areas that we thought would be great to get your input on, because every time we bring something up with you guys, we come up with some amazing thing we never would have thought of. So what we'd like to do is have you go to whichever one sort of speaks to you. There's the first one right over there, I think it follows the numbers here. What can be done at home to reinforce academic language? So, that one would be if you want to think about how can we support academic language at home. So that's number 1, and that's right over there. And then number 2, how can academic language be gamified? Thoughts on that? Maybe there's a way to make it fun, or get to the second level, tier 2 words, tier 3 words, whatever it happens to be. So if you're interested in thinking about how you might gamify academic language, you can go to that one. The third one, how can we recognize students when they use academic language? So is there sort of a reward system, or maybe there's an awesome act they can get for saying it to us at lunchtime or something like that. So ideas that would help promote it with the students and however that would look. And then 4 is over here. How can we challenge our high-performing students with academic language? Is there a even higher level of tier that we can think about, or is there a depth of knowledge that we could put in there for our higher achieving students? And then someone came up with the idea of what if we had an academic language bee instead of a spelling bee? Maybe it's an academic language bee that we do at the end of the year and see how many words kids knew the definition to, or something along that lines. So what we'd like you to do is go ahead and choose which one of those 5 you want to go to, and then we're going to give you, I'm not sure exactly how much time.
We've got 30, wait, what time, is it 7 or 7:10? I can't see. It's 7, so we have about 25 to 30 minutes because the Mountain View Police come at 7:30. So let's say 25 minutes.
So you're going to spend, we're going to hopefully to get to 2 tables.
I tell you what, we're going to do this. I'm going to check in with you in 10 minutes. So I'm going to give you a couple of minutes to go find whichever spot you want to go. You might want to grab a cookie on your way, and then I'm going to set the timer for 10 minutes and check back in with you in 10 minutes. So you're just going to be brainstorming possible ways to think about how can we promote academic language with our students. As you're making your way back, I just got a question about why is it so important that we look at academic language. First off, I want to distinguish the difference between just vocabulary and academic language. And as Ms. Thompson showed you the slide where there's different tiers of words that we use, and the first level of words are the words that we use out on the street, the words that we use with our friends. And then there's the next level up that are words that we need to use so that we can access and express ourselves. And it's really important that we have those words, because when we are asked by a teacher or someone to analyze something, we have to know what analyze means. And so there's a whole level of words that we need to just be able to use to get to our meaning and our thoughts, and get our thoughts out there. And then there's the third tier of words that are specific to a content area, you really won't see those anywhere else. But you need them to understand the concepts in that particular subject. So we found that one of the big factors in the success of our students are students who have higher levels of academic language. So we know that when we mess with that and we support that and we build that for our students, that they tend to do better when they take a test. They tend to do better when they need to articulate an understanding about something. And they tend to do better with communicating their thoughts and ideas. So that's why we're playing around with this. Okay, so I would really love to hear from some of the groups. Would anyone like to come up and just share a couple of thoughts from anyone in the 5 tables?
Okay, our topic was how can we recognize students when they use academic language? One idea was to have a monthly theme of academic vocabulary. Another idea was Block G. Could students earn Block G points for using academic language? And then also, we talked about, maybe not prize-oriented, but just when you use academic language with your teacher, then your prize is getting a higher level relationship and having higher level conversations with your teachers. Focus on improvement, not level. Recognize students that use cross-curriculum academic language. So maybe a student who's kind of tying in 2 subjects together. And then we went off on a little tangent, just talking about how to make academic language cool, like to get kids to buy in. And perhaps inviting professionals from various fields to come and impress kids with how they use academic language and how they are constantly learning new academic language. And then finally, asking kids to ask a caring adult in their life to share and discuss how they use academic language in their life. Maybe having that as an assignment. So that was us.
Okay, would anyone like to come from any of the other tables?
So we were at table 1, how to support academic language at home, and here are some examples. So the first was maybe as early as back to school night, get a glossary of terms that are going to be used for every single subject, ideally with definition, application, and then possibly a translation into Spanish too. So that right from the get-go, your student and you, maybe even online, have a glossary of what they're going to be learning. The second one was around making it fun in gaming it a little bit too, with Quizlet. So Quizlet is kind of a flashcard application, but I think they also have gamified it somewhat. And it's on a phone, so it's very fun to use. And you just basically, whenever you have spare time, you kind of get points for reviewing and quizzing yourself on the language. Specific exercises would be really great. So when the students are taught to analyze or do something like that, that it would be really helpful, especially for English language learners, to have exercises, specific exercises to do with their kid. Not just talk about how to analyze something, but even more specific. This week's theme will be your garden. Go outside, pull a plant out, and analyze it. And then you're applying what you're learning. So very specific exercises. And then chat pack, games, sticky notes, those are all things to make it fun. And being intentional about using the vocabulary on a daily basis at home. Providing a word of the week in the newsletter, or online, or over Gram Chat. And we had one more thing. Covering a topic, a new topic, and some extra words at every meeting. So whenever we get together as a group, why not throw in it? Okay.
Okay. All right, so we had the language bee, and we came up with, in a language bee, spell the word, you would explain the meaning, and then you would use it in a sentence. And we thought, oh, louder. And we thought you could do this individually or as a team. And then we thought of ideas in a jar. You have a jar of, okay, you pull a slip and it says, do a Pictionary of this word, or sing a song of this word, or act it out, or haiku, or even a rap. And then with back to like the language we thought of, okay, could it be that you're given the definition of a word and you have to figure out what the word is? And then we also said, well, when we were running ideas, we thought, well, why don't we ask the students what kind of games would they like to play with these words? And then the last thing was, how many target words to fit into a sentence? Oh, okay, or a paragraph. So again, perhaps a team and they write a paragraph and try to use. Okay.
Anyone else?
I don't know.
Hi, we had the table asking how to challenge the high-performing students about academic language. So we came up with a couple of ideas that sound a lot like what I've heard so far, one of which was the idea of using Jeopardy and using that type of game where they really need to have a little more in-depth knowledge about it, and so it's challenging. Another would be to integrate it a little bit more with the performing arts and the GMS TV to actually do some kind of skit or play as a team, and that would be a way to introduce the rest of the school to it, but the more advanced students would have actually done the prep work and come up with the framework for it. Obviously, to challenge the higher performing students, there's a differentiated lesson opportunity where they might have more challenging reading or have more higher expectations for writing using the tier 3 as you've defined it language, or perhaps even to draw or illustrate the concept, or infographics are they're all the rage now, and those don't require quite as high drawing skills. We also thought about the idea of using speaker series or experts and professionals from the community that could be on or off campus. It could even become a field trip where they're going to a biology lab, and that way they're able to speak with someone. I mean, that's the whole point of academic language in the first place, is to have a conversation about a concept that's a little more challenging. And then the final item was to use, similar to in the elementaries where they're doing a program called News ELA. I'm not so familiar with that, but taking that idea where you might ask the more higher performing students to translate something into the lower tier language, so you would have to learn, basically explain it to someone who didn't understand the concept, and so translate between the tiers. So that was what we had.
Thank you so much. Wow, you guys are brilliant. I love it. I'm so impressed. So all of your notes, if we could just get those to Debbie, maybe? Is that what you're doing?
Actually, put them in the folder.
Oh, okay, that'll work. You can put them in the folder. Was there one more group that wanted to share? Yay!
So there is going to be some overlap with what's already been shared. Our question was gamification. The first part would be a framework.
Hold the mic closer so you can interpret.
Gamification requires prizes, gaining points and getting prizes, or getting positive reinforcement as you go. So I will set this aside because my oldest son is in 6th grade. I have no clue what motivates teenagers. I'm sure the school finds something. So there are some computer-based solutions. Somebody mentioned Quizlets. Some of the schools are using text tied to tests that test vocabulary after you read, and then provide definitions and teach you the words if you didn't catch them when you were reading. There was some suggestions that President was using some software some years back.
Hace tiempo mi niño asistió a la escuela Crittenden, entonces ahí había un sistema de lectura. Los niños tenían que leer sus libros y hacer el examen. Si el niño pasaba el examen, entonces su nivel iba incrementando de nivel. Ojalá que acá puedan tener algo semejante. Eso les ayudó mucho a los niños a subir su nivel de comprensión. Otra idea es crear un club de lectura. En ese club de lectura podrían encontrar o identificar las palabras académicas y describirlas en grupo y así poder entender y comprender la lectura también al mismo tiempo.
Somebody in the group raised the point that some kids don't like looking at the dictionary when they're reading. We talked about the fact that you learn new words when you're reading, and stopping to grab the dictionary can be difficult. So electronic books let you pop up the definition when you touch the word. That can be helpful. Also, there is also the perception that if you need to look up the words, then you're not that smart. So teaching the kids that smart kids look at words, it's not, learning is a good thing. Then there was discussion about, since we're talking about games, how games can be used to teach Pokemon. You learn a lot of very narrow vocabulary for Pokemon. Can that be mapped to something else? Minecraft, my kids don't speak English with each other, but they play Minecraft, and they actually learn a ton of vocabulary through Minecraft, which I know because they don't know the French words, so when they're talking with each other, it's French, but every other word is an English word because that's the word they know. So that's when I realized I need to teach them those words in French. Building new vocabulary, and then the dictionary.
Que los niños lleven en cada salón que lleven un récord de todas las palabras que están usando y al final de año crear un diccionario con todas las palabras que ellos usaron para que ellos se sientan orgullosos de todo su esfuerzo. Y también reconocer a los niños cuando ellos están usando en su clase correctamente palabras académicas y darles premios. Estos premios no tienen que ser premios caros, podría ser como usando dinero de mentiras. Por cada palabra que usen en la clase, ellos pueden ir sumando su dinero y al final de 1 o 2 meses ellos podrían tener como un lonche con la directora, con usted, con la subdirectora, depende del dinero que hayan juntado, llevarlos a un helado. No es muy caro eso.
And then to tie into, there was mention of a word of the week. We actually thought about a word of the day, and then kids getting points if they use in the classroom that word appropriately during class time. And that was it. There was the idea of having a competition. I don't know if this can be done outside the classroom, but having a paragraph written. It's the opposite of the suggestion to have the advanced kids take fancy, higher level paragraphs and write them down, but having a simple paragraph written and then a competition, might be teamwork, might be individual, about rewriting it into the fanciest possible way you can imagine. And then the best examples of purple prose can be published in newsletters.
Por un lado, notes back into the folders at each spot, and then we'll make sure that we collect them all. Okay?
All right, thank you. That was really wonderful. It's nice to see you all working so hard. Makes our job a little easier. But no, it's nice to have you all in a room working together. Pretty exciting. A couple of announcements before I introduce Officer Taylor. One is mine. How many here are 8th grade parents? Okay. How many would be interested if we did a night where we put together all the pictures from Yosemite and come with your students? Okay. So I'm going to see. We're talking maybe December, or would January work? January would be better for you? Because of all the stuff? Okay, that gives me more time to put together. Okay, and it would be probably in this building and popcorn or something, but share stories and see all the pictures that parents and teachers took and kids took that were gathered together. Joey. Oh, actually, hey, Jeremy. Come up. And we'll turn to Joey and then to Bobby.
A couple of things, because we want to finish with the...
El anuncio es para las personas que hablan español, por supuesto. Queremos invitarlos muy cordialmente a todas las papás de los niños que no se han reclasificado o que están en proceso de reclasificación, que por favor asistan a las reuniones que está habiendo en el distrito escolar, porque ahorita están sucediendo muchas cosas y tienen que enterarse de cosas que son importantes y que ustedes pueden hacer en su casa, en la escuela, con los maestros, y que hacen su voz y pidan que los niveles de puntuación en los que se basan para hacer el examen se mantengan, porque eso les va a ayudar a nuestros hijos. Entonces solamente quiero recordarles y pedirles por favor que se informen y que cada vez que los inviten al distrito escolar vayan, pregunten, disipen todas sus dudas, especialmente las personas de los papás que están sus hijos en proceso de reclasificación. Muchas gracias, eso es todo. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And Joey, you have a couple announcements? Something about classes and a holiday fair. So while he's looking, we're having a craft fair December 5th, which is a Saturday, from 9 to 1 o'clock in this building. So you can sign up to sell goods if you make little crafts. You go to those craft fairs and people. How much is a table?
It's going to be $25 for outside vendors, but if you're school vendors, it's $15, and if the students are selling stuff, it's $10. Sorry, outside vendors will be $25. School vendors, so if your student is here or you have a student here, it's going to be $15, and if it's just students, it's going to be $10. And then also, they're also going to have music is going to be playing as well. I have Miss Garolin's going to have people here, and so is Mr. Hyde and Cassell. So it's going to be a bunch of things going on events as well. And I think also we're doing piñatas. I can't remember if we're doing that, but that's one of the things.
And they're selling food?
Oh yes, and a lot of food. We're going to have tamales, pozole, papusas, buñuelos, atole, everything. She told me.
You like authentic Mexican food, Tom?
Yes, come. We're going to have a lot of food. And then, second.
And it's a lot of fun. And this year, if it rains, we can be inside, right? Last year, we didn't have a whole...
Yeah, I'm going to have this here all open, and then if we need more vendors, we're going to open the door that way, and then we're going to be selling food right out the little food market right there. So actually, the second one, my second thing is that we have a thing for 10 steps to a healthier you. It's the classes that we're going to have. It's going to be number one, class 1, 10 steps to the healthier you. The second one is structure and routine, and the third class will be 5 keys to raising a healthier, happy eater. So there's going to be 3 classes, and they're going to be January 15th, 22nd, and the 29th. It's only 3 classes for 2 hours, from 6 to 8, and then they're also going to have childcare. will be provided, and they'll also be teaching them how to eat as well. They'll be having them color different kinds of foods and give them kind of a little bit of workshops as well. So, but there's going to be 2 different classes. One's going to be English and Spanish. So we're going to have 2 classes going, but I need to know the first 25 to either email me or Ms. Thompson, and because they can only host that many parents.
25 Spanish,
25 Spanish, 25 English. So, but we could also do another one. We could do as many. I think as many as 4 or 5 sessions. I think. I don't remember. So if you can't make the first 3 or the next 3, we could always. You can always come another time that we have it, depending on how many people would like to come.
It's not very good advertising. No. It's not about a healthier you, it's about a healthier kid. It's really about helping you get kids to sleep, if you have power struggles with them in bed, or healthy eaters, that kind of stuff. So some nice classes, they're free. It's through Healthier Kids Foundation out of Santa Clara.
So I need to know if 25 people need or would be interested in going. So like I said, it could either let me know or come to the office, or you can either email one of us as soon as possible, because as soon as I get the 25 filled, or if I don't, then I won't have the class for the English or the Spanish. So I need to know as soon as possible. And the dates are?
Would it be held here?
Yeah, the 15th.
15th, 22nd
and the 29th.
of January, 29th.
So
And we'll put it on the
each Friday is going to be 3 Fridays in a row, back to back to back, for 2 hours, for 6 to 8. And again, like I said, childcare will be provided. They're going to have actually the people that are going to be doing it. I need that mic. Who are doing it? They're going to have teachers that are actually going to come and kind of do the instruction for that, and also as for the childcare. So I have to know in 2 weeks in advance the dates. So I already got these dates already locked in. So if I want to do it again, if I want 25 more students or teachers that are, sorry, parents that want to do it, let me know in advance, and then I can just
So we can schedule. So probably by right after Thanksgiving we need to know.
Yeah, I need to know. The sooner the better, because like I said, it has to be 2 weeks in advance if I'm going to do both English and Spanish at the same time.
So see Joey.
Yes. Come
Don't see me. See Joey.
Yeah. Email me. Send me a message. It's all on the website.
Okay. We'll get flyers on the table. So thank you for coming. Thank you, Joe. It's with great pleasure that I get to introduce Officer Taylor. Officer, come on up. Officer Taylor and I have known each other for quite some time. He is the school resource officer for the district, mostly stationed in the high schools. We have Officer Rowe here with us, and they hired another one. It's Officer Kavara, who's working with elementary schools now. So they have 3 school resource. And it's really meant for intervention, prevention, getting kids that are falling through cracks, or all sorts of services they provide us. We asked them to come tonight to talk about internet safety, which is one of the huge dangers our kids are facing in a variety of ways. I'm not sure, I haven't seen his presentation, but I, as a principal, as a parent, would urge you, if your child has a cell phone, know what they're doing on that cell phone. You know their passwords, you know what sites they're going to, you know their texts. You have a perfect right, and I'm sure he's going to address it. I can't tell you the conversations I have with students all the time, and they go, oh, my parents don't know anything about what I'm saying. You'd be really surprised. So it's really your responsibility and obligation to keep them safe and make good choices. You know, this is the time you're experimenting, and they're going to experiment with a lot of different things, so you need to know what that's going on. Thank you, Officer Taylor.
You need that, talk with your booming voice.
Okay, whatever works. You guys want this or you want a voice? Whatever. We'll go with this. Okay. My name is Bobby Taylor. I have like a hour-long presentation that we're going to condense to meet your needs, because I realize you guys are out here at 8:30, right?
What's up, everybody?
Well, just for a second. So first of all, thanks, Carol, for letting me come. Is this working okay? Yeah. Okay. Carol asked me really quick, what do you think is the most important thing? As Ms. Thompson said, obviously, it's digital media, whether it's your cell phone, name it, iPad, iPod, all that stuff. We got to talk about the importance of, as parents, your responsibility is those items belong to you. I don't care if your kid's 18 or 17 and he's paying for it or she's paying for it, it's yours. Okay, you guys, by law or by contracts with all the digital providers, kid has to be 18 in order to have his own account. So all that stuff belongs to you. It's subject to your rules, your regulations, your revocation anytime. And we'll get going really quick on a video I have. Another thing I wanted to say really quick, as a police officer, I've been doing this job for 18 years. Without boring you with my career, I've done a lot of things. I've been a detective, I've handled homicides. Working at this school is a pleasure, and it's a pleasure because of the staff you have. So why don't we give it up really quick for Mrs. Thompson. And Joey and Lizette and Cynthia and everyone else that is here. It really is the top-rated bunch of professionals. And believe me, they know as much about this stuff, if not more than I do. We work hand in hand, in tandem, all the time with this, and they're professionals. So anytime you have any issues or needs, hit them up too. If you can cue this up, Joey. I think we have sound. The video.
I am pumped to welcome you to the Learning Annex's MySpace News Seminar. Today we're going to help you guys set up a MySpace page so that you can communicate with more than 6 million young people currently in the MySpace community. Okay, let's get started. This is a slightly older group than I was expecting.
Well, I admit I'm not here to start my own MySpace page. My daughter is spending all of her time on it, so I thought I should see what all this hullabaloo is about.
Okay, and the rest of you? What she said? Yeah. Fair enough. Now the first step in creating your MySpace page is to fill out your profile, things like your name, sex, and age.
With the age thing, could my child put a different age than his actual age?
Yeah, I guess they could.
MySpace doesn't have a way to police that?
Not really.
So if my son was 45, he could say he was 15?
Your son is 45?
I said if he was 45. Hypothetical.
Well, yeah, technically you could say any age you wanted, but why would you do that?
Well, sometimes people from one age group feel more comfortable around people of another age group. Maybe he wants to put what age his soul is, and not what age he actually is.
I am always worried that my daughter and her friends are putting older ages, so that they can seem more mature. Do you gentlemen have the same worries with your kids?
Yes. All right, you can also fill in things like your taste in music or favorite movies. This way you can meet people with similar tastes.
Oh, my goodness. This music my daughter listens to. I don't know how she listens to it. Must be a generational thing.
I have a question. Yeah, go ahead. What kind of music does your daughter listen to?
Let's see. What does she? Oh, well, she listens to a lot of this band called Fall Out Boy.
Okay, now let's move on.
I'm sorry, real quick. Is Fall Out Boy 1, 2, or 3 words?
Oh, I don't know.
I found it as 3 words.
Another fun part of MySpace is picking out a screen name. And one common approach is to use some variation of your name in the year that you were born. So, for instance, mine is DJ Danny 1979. It's a good way to give people a little more info on who you are.
Well, I don't want to date myself, fellas, but you can call me Nancy 19X.
Nice work. All right. Let's see what we got here. Chadster 1991? 1991 is my favorite number. Okay, well, Chad, my name is Larry. Okay, Larry, well, if you put 1991 in there, it might make people think you're 15. Well, that's a risk I'm trying to take. I really like the number. Okay. Yeah, what else we got? How about over here? 9th grade skater boy.
Was my fraternity nickname.
Spelled like the Avril Lavigne song?
Yeah.
And why does it say 9th grade if it was a fraternity nickname?
Because I went to college early. Like, to the other.
Alright, and what do we got here? Naughty girl hot stuff. I don't even want to hear your explanation, but you should know you're going to get a lot of teenage boys wanting to meet you.
Oh no, I don't want that. Why would I want that? Let me just fix that.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Let's say you meet someone on MySpace and want to arrange to meet them in person. Okay? Like maybe you're going to meet them at their house. What's your question? What's the best way to make sure the Dateline's not going to be there? Okay, I'm just going to race through the rest of this. You're going to want to select an avatar, which is a visual representation of yourself. Most people choose to use a picture of themselves.
Excuse me? I was recently in a car accident that severely altered my appearance. Is it okay to use a picture of myself from before said accident?
You can use anything you want. Again, MySpace doesn't really have a way to police that.
Excellent.
Just out of curiosity, what did you look like before the accident?
Chad Michael Murray?
You look like Chad Michael Murray?
Before the accident, yes. Pretty much exactly like Chad Michael Murray.
And what kind of accident was it?
A severe one.
I used to look like Ashley Parker Angel.
I've been told I look like Jessica Alba.
You know what? My son loves her.
Excuse me. How can I help you?
Well, I'm here to teach a community policing class. Do you know where room 904 is?
Yeah, down the hall.
All right, thanks a lot.
You should probably tell your daughter to stay off the internet.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Okay, so really quick, the reason I show that, I'm not trying to offend anyone or anything like that, but is that an exaggeration? Absolutely not. That is every day in this job, and a lot of times it's every day, maybe once a week in the schools too. And I'll tell you right now, it doesn't matter what school it is, the most wealthy and affluent private schools in the area, down to every other school in between in Santa Clara County. This stuff is the reality of what we're dealing with. So parents absolutely unequivocally need to know what's going on in the lives of their kids. You need to know their passwords and all that stuff, and we'll get into a few other things lately. This is a parent-proof code. One I just pulled off the internet, and once again, Joey probably knows most of these better than I do because he's an expert in texting and all that, or going through text. Some of the things I see most often is, everyone knows what 420 is, right?
Yes.
Number 13. 420 is marijuana. So, also one that's not on here is tree, like a tree. Tree is a tree. Anytime you see texting, kids aren't stupid, right? They're not gonna text, hello, can I purchase some marijuana from you? They're not gonna do that. They gotta put like codes in there that parents don't understand and parents don't know, so that they can get around it. And so, really quick before I forget, 2 things that as police officers, and I think the school does too, anytime we have a reason to get into a kid's cell phone at school, the first 2 things I look for is text, and go through all the messages, and the photos. You will probably know in 30 seconds if there's a problem or if there's not a problem. And if there's a problem, every photo they have has got to be represented in that, and every text message also has got to be represented. Here's a couple things too, some more specifically related to drug references, and this stuff right here may be more a little bit older, ages like high school, but we've seen them in the middle schools too. Tree is marijuana, wax is concentrated cannabis, honey or oil is concentrated cannabis, and I'll get into what that means in a minute. Dabs is also the same thing. Bars or Xanax, and I know a lot of times people think you know, Xanax, so what, it's Xanax. But, you know, Xanax is highly abused. There have been people that have, in the high schools, one who overdosed and died on Xanax or Xannies, and, or any prescription medication for that matter. OxyContin's another big one too. And then Molly. Does everyone know what Molly is? Has everyone heard that term? Okay, Molly is ecstasy, and that is such an, I don't want to say old term, but it's still used proficiently. It sounds innocent, it sounds harmless. If you go online, if you Google Molly, if you Molly's anything. So on texting, on social media, on all the sites that are out there, all the apps, Molly is ecstasy. It's just straight up, that's like basic common knowledge, and it's very prolific, and we see that all the time. Really quick, and I know I don't need to tell you guys this, but this is some basic point of contact stuff we have, point of access, iPhones, iPads, basically everything that's digital, that's electronic. What's that? Well, the video games too. A lot of parents don't know this. I got a couple of videos that we don't have time to get through right now. But what is it? Xbox is a big one. PS, all the PSs 3 and 4 are all interactive. And with my own kids, I monitor that. But a lot of times, and once again, I'm not exaggerating. I have friends that work in the child exploitation unit based out of San Jose, PD, and the video games is a huge one. ICAC, yeah. Internet Crimes Against Children Unit, and ICAC, that's all they do is deal with specifically child molesters on a high level. And ICAC, once again, there'll be people that'll go, you know, on 70-year-old men or 50-year-old men, and they'll go on video games, and they'll, you know, a 13-year-old kid, oh, you know what, I love playing Halo, or Black Ops is my favorite game, and they'll play consistently with them until they build a rapport, and in the worst case scenarios, they'll schedule a meeting with kids like that. Desktops, PCs, everything, and before I forget about it, your electronic media needs to be in a public place, specifically related to desktops. What we don't want to see is what we see sometimes, and that's a kid is barricaded in his room with the door shut for 3 hours with unlimited internet access. The parents have absolutely no clue what's going on until something bad happens. And then they're shocked or horrified. Surely my kid can't be into this. He's got a 3.9 GPA, he's taking all these, you know, courses and stuff like that. But once again, as parents, we need to monitor their underworld. And it's getting more difficult to monitor. Like, you know, my house, for example, everything pretty much electronic, internet-wise, is in a public place of the house. And, you know, kids know that history's got to be checked and all that. It gets more dicey now with all the, you know, everyone's got an iPhone and stuff like that. I think the best advice I've heard recently from another police officer in a different jurisdiction said in his house, from the inception of cell phone introduction, it comes with the rules and like a contract that, you know, you guys own the phones or whatever the digital form of media is, and it's subject to search and seizure, it's subject to checking history, and there's also plans you can get through the internet carriers and cell phone providers. If you want to get extreme, that you can have every text message copied to you blindly without them knowing about it. It costs a little more money, but you can check that out. The other thing too is I've heard people tell me, oh, you know what, it's just an I just let my kid play with the iPod, it doesn't have service. We're in Silicon Valley, right? So our kids know how to use this stuff better than we do. They know how to find the free the Wi-Fi, and they know how to make it happen, how to make it work. And so just because you tell them that they don't have service, that means nothing. A couple of these, Facebook is still popular, but with the kids, it's probably less popular than the other ones. Obviously everyone knows YouTube, everyone knows Snapchat, right? Snapchat disappears. Kick, does everyone know about Kick? Okay, every kid is on Kick. Kick is probably, I don't want to say one of my worst fears, but you know, every bad thing that happens, you know, originates out of Kick. And once again, I'm not saying Kick is bad. Yeah. I'm sorry?
What is Kick?
It's basically
it's like a free web. It's like a free website to like contact people, like kind of like a messaging thing, kind of like you know how we message people through iPhone and it says iMessage. It's like that, but it's like a free website that you can go on there and like message all kinds of people so they can write their own name.
Yes.
It's kind of like an Instagram, but a little bit different. It's just more to text only. I think you can also send photos too. It's just like I said, it's just like a free website that they can go and message all kinds of people and say all kinds of stuff, bad stuff.
Instagram, obviously. Vine's another one. I think Vine is short videos, right? Yeah. Tumblr, Periscope. I'm not really familiar with Periscope, but I know it's up and coming, and a lot of people are into that. Hey, Joe, can you go back?
What about WhatsApp?
Oh, WhatsApp's a new one too. I think Google bought them, didn't they? Or Facebook, somebody did. The other thing too, before we get onto the mean girl drama, usually what we see, especially in the middle school ages, is the porn is off the hook with the boys, and the girls are into the mean girl drama. And as a parent, you may say, well, even when I monitor my kids, they're not into, they're not like on the X-rated websites or whatever. But how many people know about YouTube? I use YouTube all the time. I could use YouTube to find a Bible verse if I'm looking it up. But at the same time, the majority of kids in the middle school age and high school that are hardcore into porn are getting it on YouTube. And most parents think, oh, you know what? Yeah. It's okay. My son's on YouTube all the time. He likes checking out videos. But believe me, without getting into all the gory details, YouTube is a mecca for child pornography, or not just child pornography, but for all kinds of porn, and for, specifically middle-aged school boys who already have raging hormones, and they're dead center in the middle of puberty. It's just a nightmare. So it's one thing that needs to be monitored.
Sometimes they'll have everybody's watched YouTube, right?
Yeah.
So sometimes you see there's a little message on the bottom.
Yeah.
That's when you click on that sometimes, and that's where they come up. So like I was saying, that's how easy it is to get on and get all kinds of crazy information. So you have to be really careful with YouTube. Really careful.
One other thing before we move on is, as I alluded to earlier, police officer I know who teaches courses with Yahoo stuff. He's out of Sunnyvale. He told me in his house what he does is from the inception of the cell phone, it comes basically with the contract. And every night he collects every item of digital media from his kids, even into high school. And people, often ask him, how does your 17-year-old, feel about that? He's like, that's all he's ever known. That's all he knows. If he wants a cell phone, if he wants an iPhone 6 Plus, it's got to get checked in the morning from the parents, and it's got to get checked in at night before they go to bed. That way they're, number one, they're not on, all this stuff till 1:30 in the morning talking to their girlfriend or their buddies when they should be studying, and all the other horrors and nightmares, and along with the innocent stuff too. So once again, it's a lot easier battle to fight when you start with them little, right? It's a lot easier to train your puppy when they're 8 pounds versus, when they're 3 years old and stuff like that. But it's never too late. But anyway, why don't we cue up the next one real quick? I just got to show you one more video. It's about 2 minutes long, and then we can get into it.
Hi guys! Hey! Hi Megan. Hey Jessica. Megan, you're a tramp. Ryan Bitch told me you guys made out. Everybody knows. He said your breath smells like garbage. And he almost puked. He says you're the most desperate girl he knows, besides your mom. How many boyfriends does she have anyway? Lots? Your makeup makes you look like a clown. That zit is huge, zit face. Ugly.
Okay, so when I became a police officer in 1997, we didn't even have cell phones. Maybe somebody knew who was really cool had a brick phone, but we didn't have all this stuff. And when we bullied each other or were victimized by bullying, it was usually face-to-face. Nowadays, kids, and I'm not making this up, this is a total perfect example of middle school girl drama. They would never say that to each other's face, but this stuff goes on all the time. And part of my concern as a parent too is maybe your kid might be going through this, and you have no clue what's going on. And there was a couple recent examples. I went to a training last month. They featured a case in Los Gatos, I think it was 6 years ago, maybe 8, and high school cheerleader, freshman, popular, hung herself because she was going through a lot of this kind of thing. Basically, she had taken a topless photo of herself, sexted it to her boyfriend, and somehow in between that it went viral. She was embarrassed, shamed, and humiliated to let her parents know what happened. She killed herself. Dad was a doctor in a very affluent family, and mom actually comes to the conferences and speaks and stuff like that about addressing these issues. So, 2 things. Number 1, obviously, once again, you need to be monitoring what's going on with your kids. And I'm not saying it's easy, believe me, I'm not an expert. And if you're not high tech, find someone that is and find out what's going on in your kids' lives. And number 2, know what's going on in their lives. That way, if something bad is happening to them, just like how you would, stand in front of a truck to protect them crossing the street. No parent here wants anything harmful to happen to their kids, and we don't want anything harmful like that either. And this kind of stuff, unfortunately, is the scary reality of the world we live with, especially middle school. Because, think about when you were that age, when I was that age, it really sucked because, at least a lot of times when kids get into high school, they socially mature a little bit more. I'm not saying that this is non-existent, but this kind of behavior is ground zero for middle school behavior, especially with the girls. So as a parent, it's absolutely imperative incumbent on you guys to penetrate your kids' world and know what's going on. That way, if they or someone they know is being victimized like that, you can step in, and I can guarantee you these schools are awesome and amazing about finding this stuff and about thwarting it and addressing it when it comes on. So, and a lot of times, the schools come across this kind of stuff. They may choose to call us and get us involved. More often than not, they probably do, but they really are good and they're experts at it. So, once again, know what's going on with your kids' cyber lives. I'm trying to talk slow for you, but I'm trying to balance that with being in a hurry, so thank you for your hard work.
Okay, Lindsay, you're up.
Today I'm going to talk about Patty. Patty's best characteristics, she's stupid. Stupid and ugly. Everything she does is ugly. Watch her eat. Watch her stuff her face. Look at her. Greasy hair, dirty fingernails. It makes me want to vomit. Her dad doesn't work, they have no money. That's why she wears that nasty pink sweater. Everyone hates her, even the teachers, and they're supposed to like everyone. Get a life, Patty. Thank you.
Once again, similar to the last one, this stuff is prolific, and it's probably safe to say that these last 2 little videos are very mild compared to a lot of things we see in real life. And we'll bypass this. Let's just get to really quick, can we go back one? What does healthy internet use look like? Supervised and regulated, online. And once again, it's becoming more and more difficult with smaller devices and iPads and iPods and all that stuff. If you have a desktop, have it in a public place. Don't let your child barricade themselves, for 3 hours unregulated and unsupervised. Have it in a high traffic or plain view area of the house. Parents need to be cautious, especially with the boys, with the violent graphic video games. Each game has like a recommended age on it. I'm not here to be for or against video games, but we've also seen kids who they can't come to school because they're sick, but we go by and check on them because they missed 33 days already in the year, and they're home playing Call of Duty or Black Ops all day long by themselves. You can imagine prolonged exposure, that's not going to be good. Also, basically, unrestricted and unregulated is bad, so we want the opposite of that. As parents, you wouldn't give your kids, your 13-year-old or 14-year-old, keys to your car to go drive it. So why should we give them unrestricted internet use and access and stuff like that, things like that could hurt them. Does that make sense? Okay. And I forgot to say, if you have any questions along the way, let me know. So really quick, we kind of touched base on this. major internet pitfalls. Boys, it's got to be the porn, especially on YouTube. And I'm not bad talking YouTube, believe me. I was trying to change the light bulb on my wife's minivan, and I couldn't figure it out. So I went on YouTube, and in 2 minutes I got it fixed. So YouTube's a great website, but like everything else, it's good and bad. So just put your life jacket on their kid while they're on the internet. If you want, like I said, there's good advice about checking in digital media before bedtime, and let them check it out the next day. And then most importantly, setting the standard and the expectation about what it is, who owns it, and what's going on. If you do that early, it's going to be a good thing. I've had people tell me before, the kids we're not talking just porn problems. I had a 12-year-old boy who was like in really hardcore porn that I won't get into because it was so egregious. And some of the responses I got back from the parents, well, I don't want to violate their privacy. You know what? Bottom line, this isn't about privacy, right? This is about protecting your kids' lives. This is about, having them grow up and to be productive citizens and to be safe on the internet. So anyway, I'll probably cut it off there in order to allow time for question and answers. Does anyone have any questions? Yes?
You mentioned you began with drugs, and I want to know, how do the kids in middle school get access to those?
Drugs? That's a great question. Everyone hear that? Again, I could go off on a 45-minute tirade right now. But I want a couple things. Proposition 215, I was a police officer before the Medicinal Marijuana Act came into being, the Compassionate Use Act, and without getting political on either side, that was sold to the California voters as basically if you're on your deathbed dying of cancer, that you can smoke marijuana with a doctor's recommendation. I don't think I've ever met a real doctor who recommends that, but there's always, the clubs have their own doctors. But what that has morphed into today is every kid, as soon as they turn 18, who wants to smoke weed, goes down to the either the Oakland Cannabis Club or a couple in San Jose, and they'll make up some lame excuse. And I always get a kick. I ask them, hey, what's your ailment? Well, I have ADHD, okay. Or you know what, I have migraine headaches, or I have a hangnail, or whatever. There's no regulation. Everyone gets a weed card right out the gate. And then what that equates to today is everyone's older brother or uncle or parent has a weed card, and it is just so much more prolific now. I'm not trying to paint doom and gloom, but basically all the marijuana that we come across nowadays comes from the clubs. And what's probably more scary for us that we see in the high schools too, I went my whole entire life, 48 years old, throw myself down. And I've never seen a marijuana overdose until 3 years ago. And now we're starting to see them more and more and frequently and more frequently because of the fact that the cannabis clubs will have these cookies, they call it edibles, and it will say like a 5-dose cookie. Well, the kids will try to eat the whole cookie, right then and there. And usually marijuana is a passive drug, but now we're looking at violent reactions, we're looking at seizures, we're looking at hospitalization. So that's probably one avenue that they're coming in through family members and stuff like that, along with all the prescription drugs. And then most recently, Prop 47, everyone remember that? It was January 1st it went into effect where basically California voters said, okay, from now on we're going to have all major felony drugs charged as misdemeanors. So now heroin, methamphetamine, cocaine, LSD acid, all those are cite-outs. People no longer go to jail for those violations. So what that is just creating is a prolific firestorm of out-of-control drug use. Part of Prop 47 that also got rid of any kind of medical or any kind of drug treatment programs sanctioned by the court. So now it's just complete chaos. People are moving into California now to use drugs because why take a risk of living in Arizona and looking at a 3-strike case when you come to California, it's a ticket, you're not even going to jail. So, yes?
But technically, if they wanted to get Molly, let's say, how would they do it? Like their gram, whatever?
Probably, I would say, number one, texting. Okay, so you need to check. Texting is the pipeline. Okay?
And how do you know the supplier? I'm just wondering, I'm so out of it.
A couple ways. Number one, probably texting is the most important. I mean, they've got to find out who they know has it. It can also be done on Craigslist. I don't know how many of the kids your age go, but yeah, if you go on Craigslist and type in Molly, you'll probably start finding something. I'm not recommending anyone do that, okay? But
I think the Discovery Channel has some good TV shows about the black market of drugs. And they're eye-opening just to watch in terms of how people make connections and all of that. I mean, I find it interesting because
on the dark net, there's even you can get it by the mail, U.S. Postal or FedEx.
So it's good just to be up on what's going on out there that you may not want to know about. So
the other thing too, before I forget, does anyone know what Urban Dictionary is?
Yeah.
Okay, know Urban Dictionary. That's what we do a lot of times. We see something, a weird word come across in text. It's like, there's a new drug called Snapchat too. So you're like, Snapchat? What's Snapchat? Why are they talking about smoking Snapchat? Go on Urban Dictionary, and you'll see it right there. Or a lot of times we'll ask a kid, and I would recommend you to do that. We ask, if we're citing somebody out for a criminal violation related to drugs, I'll ask them, hey, what's this? As you're going through the text, that's a new form or whatever. Because we have drug presentations, and if I would show you my drug presentation today, and I would show you a year from now, or maybe even 6 months from now, probably some of it would be outdated. And so we have to freshen ours up all the time. A lot of time, every time I come across a new arrest, I might factor that in. ADHD medication's big also, because it's basically the same as methamphetamine. And so if you're not prescribed it, it can have very adverse effects, especially if you're doubling up and tripling up on the dosage and stuff like that. So, any other questions? Once again, I'm not trying to be doom and gloom, but this is good that we're having discussions. Way in the back.
Do you have programs to educate actually the students? I mean, do you go in the classes or the little movies you show that to the students?
I don't think we do that on campus, right? But we do have our PAL mentoring program that's run through Graham, where we have high school students from the neighboring high schools that mentor Graham students. We have, it's a police-sponsored event. We have like a drug program through there. And then also through our Dreams and Futures program and stuff, we do that. But nothing like as part of curriculum.
we've done a little bit through Welcome Week, but not drugs. More of the cyberbullying.
I can tell you though that this school, Akron Nibbits, we're talking about Graham right now because Ms. Thompson's in front of me. They're about as proactive as anyone I know in any school, that I've ever had contact with about addressing those issues. Carol, you had a question?
Yeah, 2 questions. And it may be more for Ms. Thompson, but when the school suspects cyberbullying is happening, do they have a right to look at the kids' phones?
Great question.
And then the second part is, when would you bring parents, and when would you inform them?
Do you want to answer that, Ms. Thompson, or you want me to?
Answer the, can I look into a phone question?
Okay.
I'll answer the second part.
Okay. You want the phone question or you want me to?
You do.
Okay. The phone question, a couple things. Basically, under the guise of quote-unquote school safety, the school can search pretty much anything related to your student that they need to under the guise of school safety. That could be if there's rumors that your student has drugs. I won't say your student because it'll be someone else's student. If there's rumors of drugs, if there's any, what the case law says, basically, it's TLO versus New Jersey, if anyone wants to look that up later, and you're bored at 3 in the morning. Basically, it says that any kind of school violation or any kind of criminal violation, the school has the right to search, post-Columbine, school safety issues, things like that. A lot of kids freak out at that. I couldn't tell you how many times children have told me, you're not searching my phone without a search warrant, stuff like that. But guess what the reality is? If it's on a school campus, they're getting searched. Their phone is at least. What was the second part?
I'll answer the second part. I can't tell you how many phones I've searched. I can't tell you how many backpacks I've searched. I'm pretty good at this. Joe and I are pretty good at knowing where things are hidden, and they tend to hide things. I'm still constantly surprised at the things I find in phones. Just yesterday, a young lady was writing on something else, and I looked at her phone. I go, but you were part of this. You were engaging in the conversation that brought on the action. So, as far as the second question is parents piece, we do what we call due diligence. We find out what's going on first, and that's Sometimes that takes an entire day of investigation because it's going through several phones or going through several backpacks or going through several witnesses. And once we figure out we have as much of the truth as we know, we call parents. I don't call parents until I understand what I'm going to tell them. And that can kind of shift because you can react. If I had reacted yesterday, Joey came in and he said, look at this. And he showed me a video, or it was an audio, right? Someone had sent an audio text. And my first reaction, I'm going to kill this kid. Had I acted on that reaction, or if I'd called that parent right then and there, I would have been totally erroneous. It took me time to go and figure out that the girl was just as much at fault as the boy. And you wouldn't have known that by what I heard. So you have to just go through due diligence, and I ended up calling both parents and doing all that kind of stuff. I had to figure out the real story. That just takes time.
Sometimes, someone we think student X is in trouble for something, and it turns out it's really this kid over here, but you had to interview 5 kids to get there.
And 9 times out of 10, the kid that reports it is the kid who started. 9 times out of 10.
It's kind of like when you ask the police to work radar in your neighborhood. Who's the first person that gets cited? Unfortunately, it's the way it is. Any other questions? Those are all good questions. Yes?
I have one question. What happens when sometimes the problem is like school, later they go out of school, and supposed to be they fix everything in school, and later the girls and everybody like, why you go tell your mommy, why you tell tell, and everybody, and sometimes they keep feeling like, I can't trust my mom because my friends say, so sometimes that is more worse than the problem.
So, and part of it is like us too. If we try to secure as much trust with the students, faculty, parents as we can, okay? If a kid is telling us information that we can't turn our back on, we have to address it. What we don't do is tell this kid, by the way, this kid told me this about you. We don't do that. Otherwise, no one would ever talk to us, right? And maybe as a parent, as much as you can, maybe you can do that too. But, schools are mandated reporters, right? And the schools, they do an amazing job. A lot of times we end up sending kids, schools develop information through searching phones that maybe the school's committing or contemplating suicide. Well, you know what? Something like that, we're not going to turn our back on. So, we have to get the ball rolling and notify the appropriate communications and engage the appropriate entities and policies and procedures that need to happen. But once again, we always try to impose and exercise as much privacy as we can, in the sense that we talk to students individually, independently, not all together in the same room. So if there's 5 kids, it takes a lot longer to do 5 separate interviews. Schools do that too. But the bottom line is that's how you're really going to find out what the truth is. And that way we're not going to sell someone out and have them labeled as like a tattletale or something like that, or snitch. Does that help?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes?
Are there any programs out there for earlier intervention? So by the time you guys get it, it's already a flaming problem.
You know what? I mean, I'm going to be honest with you, none that I'm really aware of. The ones I can think of is like in Dreams and Futures, we get kids at elementary school age. And that's try to, the goal is like early intervention. Okay, and we do as much as we can.
But I'm telling you, since the advent of cell phones, things have escalated so much earlier. The kids do more stuff in elementary than they've ever done before. They're becoming much more aware when they get to us.
I don't know where it stands, but kids are getting exposure early as infants to like devices, right? And Common Sense Media is a pretty well-known group. They have a curriculum that starts in kindergarten with internet safety and how to be a good digital citizen. And it'd be really great to see that stuff integrated into the Common Core curriculum, because it's practically as important as
it is
1, 2, 3.
And unfortunately, she's talking about Common Sense curriculum, and I've referred to it in the internet, in my bear tracks many times. They tried to get into schools, It's not state adopted. However, their stuff is well written. And when you get to middle school, there is no other time to insert it in a day. You have X amount of time to do all the curriculum. I don't know how we fit it in. We can fit some of that stuff into Welcome Week and revisit days, but we can't put it into their curriculum.
Are you finding that most of the problems with cyberbullying, is that happening during the school day, or is it happening in the afternoon after school, but it
goes all the time?
It could be something that was brewing all weekend, you know, and maybe it spills into the school, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it has nothing to do with school, but, you know, it's really 24/7.
Because they're all friends. And it's not, you can't, especially in a town as small as Mountain View, it's not just grandkids. It's Graham and Critton and kids, Graham and Black, because they all know each other. So it takes a while. But even if it's outside of school and it's brought in, it's now our problem, because it's impacting learning.
There's a parent, and we'll get to you real quick, thank you, that basically asked a question, how do we restrict certain website access and stuff like that?
Certain texts or emails. I'd say the best thing would be just to go to your social provider.
Put blocks on them.
And then once again, you know, the ultimate thing is, and once again, I'm not coming at you as someone who's arrived, because I haven't. I have 2 kids myself, and I battle with all the same issues and stuff like that. But something to consider, does your kid really need, I get that, you know, parents want to know where their kids are. You know, there's always the cheeky trap phone, right? You know, especially with kids, with boys, do they really need unlimited internet and stuff like that? You know, or are you trying to get a hold of them? Because even if you buy the latest Samsung or iPhone 6 Plus, or whatever the hot ticket is, if they don't want to talk to you, you just got to be ringing anyway, right? So.
I like the idea of checking the phone in and out. If kids knew you were looking at what they were writing, it would stop it a bit.
And kids will fight us tooth and nail over looking at their phone, because they know it's got to be addressed. Go here and then over here, okay? Yes, ma'am.
I'm just curious to know how often do you deal with, drug problem?
With
if drugs?
Drugs?
Yeah.
This year, have you had any? It comes in waves. I haven't seen it, but it's pretty prevalent in high school.
It's all cyclical. I mean, we would be lying. Once again, any school, and probably nationwide, has got to have a certain amount of issues. And sometimes it's cyclical because, kids get settled in and stuff like that. But, we haven't seen a whole lot at this school so far this year.
A couple of years ago, it was e-cigarettes. That's the big deal.
Right when the vape pens first came out.
And they died.
And I think, and I'm not saying that there are no drugs or access at this school or any other school, but what I can tell you is that the way that the school administration handles it here, I think every kid in the school knows what's up, and that they know that the school is taking it seriously, admin takes it seriously, and they know that, if it's an issue, it's going to be addressed by the school and us.
We find out about it. And, we always find out. It's amazing how we find out, but we always do.
It never ceases to amaze me. That could be an issue that happened off campus, and the school will know probably within 30 minutes who it was and what happened. They'll probably have a video of it too. But anyway, someone had a question over here? Yes, ma'am.
I just wanted to say that the only early intervention I can think of is Project Control. They haven't been in since media and their lesson plans for elementary school kids. It's up to the parents whether they want to use it or not, but it's there and they have a whole little lesson. We in my school that I'm in with my younger son, we try to use it for the older grades, when they're 4th and 5th and they're almost in middle school. Kind of get the idea going on how they don't have access so much to phones and things like that, but it's the only thing out there, but it's definitely available.
Well, you also have to understand the why of cyberbullying. The reason people bully, for a lot of reasons, is they're not happy. They're trying to make themselves feel better at someone else's expense. So it's trying to get to the root problem of why they're not happy.
what's going on. Have they been bullied, or they isolated, whatever it is. But that's generally the cause, is they want to feel better about themselves, so I'm going to put someone else down. Makes me feel better. It's kind of a warped sense of that's the way they think.
And you mostly see cyberbullying with girls, is that right? You
Yes.
see what boys do, or they just kick it out?
So, but being honest, Jeff. I'm not being discriminatory, but it is what it is.
And a lot of times it's over boys.
Yeah.
That's where it starts.
Any other questions? Okay, yes ma'am.
I like the contract thing. Maybe the school could offer, the contracts would go in the welcome pack home to parents, Spanish, English. So the parents can sit down with their kids and do a contract with their phone if they've got a phone. Just a bit of helping hand, can bring to the family.
If you need it, my contact information is up here. Wait, one more over here. Yes ma'am.
Do you recommend, for instance, for my child that I delay giving him a cell phone as long as possible? Will that protect him?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
The main thing, and not being facetious, because I'm in this ballpark with all you guys, but parent your kids. You guys are the parents, and you're the parent first and the friend second. And it is what it is, and I love my kids, and they know I love them, but I got to be like Nemo's dad on some issues. And on the cell phone, me and my wife are battling with this, with our middle school son right now. It's like, does he really need it? And if he does need it, he's getting a track phone, and that's it. And you know what? If he doesn't like it, then he can go get a job and get his own phone at 12 years old, which isn't going to happen. So, but anyway.
Do they need internet? I mean, if the phone is because I want to know where they're at, and so they can go home to pick you up, that's all they need. Do they need to be able to text? Do they need to be able to have internet access? And you can get phones that don't do any of that. Pick up a phone and call.
I know the horse is out of the barn, but if there are so many problems with cell phones at school, why isn't there just a rule? No phones at school.
We have there is a rule, you cannot use your cell phone. But policing 825 students with cell phones that are under the table or behind their back or in the toilet we do the best. If we see phones, we confiscate them, and I can't tell you how many parents get mad at us for doing that.
Feel free to confiscate my kids.
And a lot of times now teachers are embedding phones in part of their curriculum. There's different ways to do that. But basically the rule is, if you have a cell phone, they're off during school hours, unless the teacher's asked you to do something with it. I shouldn't be seeing them at break, I shouldn't be seeing them at lunch, because then they start doing the inappropriate pictures, right? Your teenager does not have common sense right now. It's whatever they had is gone, for the most part.
Yeah, the frontal lobe is not fully developed.
It comes back.
Another 8 to go.
I promise it comes back, but the things they choose to do, it's like
much later.
And I thank God that we didn't have that technology when I was that age, because, I was stupid enough then, but anyway, without technology, so.
So, they know the rules, but they also know they're pushing the rules. They also know, as soon as you walk away, I don't have ice. They think I have ice in the back of my head. Don't tell them I don't.
And by the way, before I forget, thank you very much for being here. I realize we're preaching to the choir and that, it's late it's 8:30 at night on a school night, and I really appreciate all you guys being here. If you have any other questions, let's stick around for 5 or 10 minutes. If not, we'll get you guys out of here.
It just ran out. Like a minute ago.
Okay, that's told me we had almost 2 hours on there.
You know what?
And I said, we're only going to need it for an hour and a half.
You know what? I turned it back on when people started speaking again. I probably shouldn't have turned it back on for that.
And I told him, I said, you don't even have to edit. If you just make it available, we'll put the link out there to people. And I said, he goes, all I'm going to put is whatever meeting it is on the front end of it. I'm like, perfect. I said, I don't want you to do any extra work. So
so we'll just turn it off.
Yep. Oh, and the battery's almost gone too. He gave me a
that's what I
full
mean.
battery.
The battery ran out.
Like a minute ago.
Oh, all right, okay, because he told me I had a full battery that was good for 2. That's okay.
I heard the beep.
All right, that's fine.
Why is it not going off?
You have to just hold it down, I think.
Oh.